Hello everybody. I'm potty about buying seeds and about sowing them and planting them. Or should I say, I'm potting on the seeds that I've grown and sown. But anyway, one of the questions I get asked an awful lot, and I tend to get a lot of emails about it, is what seed companies do you use? So I've spent about a week and a half and I've compiled a list. They're not in any order, they're just all 10 of them, and I've tried to group certain ones together. But I thought I'd run through a list of the seed companies that I do use, so it's there on record. Now, just as a bit of a disclaimer, if I did the same video this time next year, I've no doubt that list would change again, and some would be omitted and some would be added. So it's a moving thing all the time. But for this last year, and at the moment, these are the 10 that I use the most. So let's get on with it. Now, before I get on into the list, just a quick word on some seed companies. Now, if you go in the UK, if you go into Google and you type in vegetable seed or flower seed, you'll get a list of very familiar companies coming up on the first page. They are the big sellers. They sell seeds, plants, fertilizers, netting, ground cover, just about everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. But over the years, over the decades, I've had various experiences with them, and what it might be is that I might have bought some seed, they failed to germinate, and then I've gone to another company to get a different seed to get the germination I need and the plants that I want. And what's then happened is, by searching for another company, I found the companies that I now use, and I now use those almost exclusively. I still use those big companies, but I only use them for if there's a particular seed I want and they stock it. That's how I've derived this list. I've got nothing against them personally, and if you want to use them, that's fine. I've just found that over the years, I found the more specialist suppliers, those who are just sort of concentrating on seeds and just a few other items, actually have a better turnover of seed, in that they will sell all their seeds so quickly that they get fresh stock in all the time. It's not hanging round as it might do in some other places. That's my theory. Whether that's true or not is another thing. I know everyone's got their favourites, and indeed I do know other YouTubers who use almost exclusively some of those big ones, but it's each to their own. But this is how I've derived at my list, so let's get on with it. Now, my first one on the list is a seed potato company, and that's JBA, which stands for Jameson Brothers Annan. They're just up the road in Scotland. I'm at the tip of England almost here, about 20 miles from Carlisle, and then 5-10 miles beyond Carlisle is Annan, and that's where this company is, Jameson Brothers, or JBA. Now, up until about 4 years ago, I used to do a yearly pilgrimage up to their facility and go and buy, I don't know, sort of 7, 8, 9, 10 sacks of various potatoes, and I would buy them for the whole allotment, and people would come and get them off me. It just made so much sense. Their place is huge, and you've never seen so many potatoes in one place. And you know, you could measure some of their warehouses there as in the sizes by football pitches. One of them was at least 3 or 4 football pitches long. And the thing is that they supply a lot of other companies throughout the UK. Now, there are other seed potato merchants in the country, but I found them to be the most reliable to find the best overall size seed potato itself. I mean, you don't want big ones like this, you want ones that are about this sort of size, and they will supply that. If you leave it late in the season, they'll start scratching around, and that's when you get the irregular size. Buy early, buy well, and you'll buy good, and you can't go far wrong with Jameson Brothers. So that's it, that's my first one, JBA. Now, the next 3 on the list, they're all flowers, what I use to get my flower seeds, and then the rest of them after that will be all the veg. But first up is Chiltern Seeds. Anything I want that's out of the ordinary. You can go to many flower companies and you can get all your standards, your marigolds, your nasturtiums, all that sort of stuff. But for the more specialist stuff, I use Chiltern Seeds, and that will tend to be for if I want a particular flower, because it might have a longer stem length or something for the cut flowers. So I will use Chiltern Seeds for that. Then the next one is Sarah Raven. Now she specialises in cut flowers. That's always been her bag, and that's how she's grown to what she is now, doing that. So she tends to be able to source those varieties that will have the longer stem length, will look good in the vase. And you should also check out Sarah Raven's website, but also check her out on YouTube, where she does some very simple demonstrations about how to arrange cut flowers in a vase. And she's got a really simple analogy which will help those who aren't in the artistic sense, people like me. She's taught me how to make a reasonable vase of flowers up. So that's well worth looking at as well. I will put links to all of this underneath in the description. And the final one in this section is Eagle sweet peas. Again, you can go and buy a sweet pea from most places, but in the main, not always the case, but in the main, the petals are the really small round ones, tiny little things, about the size of a penny. But if you go for more specialist types, the heirloom types, or for the Spencer types, they're great big blousy flowers, great big petals, tend to be crinkled or ruffled, and they'll have a fantastic scent. So that's why I use Eagle sweet peas. I've tried a few of their collections. Last year I used the little collection, year before that the Staffordshire one, but in the main, and I keep going back to it, I use the Chelsea collection. It's what I've got planted now, and it's what I will grow more seeds of come the spring. I'll plant more of those. So they're the 3 flower ones I use. Next up, we have 2 newbies to the list, and the first of them is Simpson Seeds, and I've only used those, I think, certainly 2 years, possibly 3, I can't quite remember, but I use them solely so far for lettuce, and the varieties of lettuce that they sell are good. I mean, they sell my favourite, the Red Grenoble, the same as another company I'll mention later in the list. But yeah, have a look at Simpson Seeds. You'll have seen me planting in the main polytunnel here a couple of videos ago, the Rouge d'Hiver lettuce. That came from Simpson Seeds, along with a few others, so that's well worth it. And another one that's new to me, I've only started using this year, is a company called Sow Seeds. You may remember my microgreens that I've sown in the polytunnel. They all came from them. They're a relatively new company on the scene, and we should be supporting these companies so that they can flourish and provide more varieties and better stock and improve things as they go along. Things will be bumpy with a new company, and one again that I'll mention right at the end of the list was the same when it started and when I first started using it. Give them a chance, get your seeds off them, and the seeds are nice and cheap, and they're very simply packaged to cut down on those costs. So those are 2 really good companies, Simpson Seeds and Grow Seed. Next on the list is a company called Seeds of Italy, and in particular they sell a range of seed called the Franchi seeds. Now these are all varieties that are packaged up and sold for the Italian market, and there are some absolutely brilliant seeds in there. I've grown quite a few of them. I haven't worked my way through all of the range yet, but every year I try on there something different. The flavours, as you can imagine, are just stupendous, especially if we get a bountiful summer in. We get plenty of sun that ripens everything up nicely. But do have a look at them. They really are fantastic, and I guarantee you'll find something in that range that you'll want to try to grow or whatever, but that's well worth it. Now another seed company I use is more of a bulk seed company. It's called Mole Seeds, and they sell tremendous amounts of seeds, and you can buy different size package. There is a minimum order on this site, but what again I've used them for, a bit like JBA Seed Potatoes, I used them in the past to buy a big bulk pack of seeds, spread it out amongst 10 people in it, and that seed became very cheap to buy that way. And again, you're getting top quality because they're a seed company. The turnover is massive, so they're getting fresh seeds in all the time, so the germination rates on their seeds were just phenomenal. I think I know one gardener on YouTube who still uses them for his mass planting as well. I don't use them as much as I used to. I think I only bought 3 packets from them last year, but I am putting an order in with them in the next couple of weeks, actually for some flowers, to be perfectly honest. But do have a look at them mould seeds. Now the last one in this section is great. It's Chiltern Seeds, and they're based, they're in North Lancashire. I don't know actually what the nearest town to that is, but I can visit that because I go past it when I go down to see my parents. So it's Chiltern Seeds. You might know it more as Mammoth onions, and it's where you can buy the Mammoth onion seeds, either the red or the white. But I like it because I can actually go in there and I can see their produce, see their things growing, and buy their seeds direct, and plants and seedlings and things. And I have done that in the past. So I get to go in there 2 or 3 times a year, and that is blooming fantastic. But again, they specialise. They've grown onions there for a long time, and it's great to go in if you can get in there, go and have a chat with them about various things. It's knowledge that they've got over hundreds of years, so that's one I definitely recommend, Chiltern Seeds. Now, the last one to get a mention on the list is, it'll come as no surprise to many people, is Premier Seeds Direct. Now, they're a company that started in the mid-noughties, 2006 or 2005, I think. I'm not entirely sure when. I didn't start using them straight away because I wasn't aware of them, but as soon as I was, I started to use them. And they're a simple company. They're a simple in the respect of that they have simple packaging and a simple cost. Now, I've been using Premier Seeds for about 12 years now, maybe more. And certainly I didn't start using them when they first came out, but as soon as I'd heard about them and saw what they were doing, I started ordering seeds. Now, they sell little foil packets about this big. It's just a foil packet with the name on it and nothing else. If you want the information on how to grow it, all on the website. So you go on the website and look at it. That cuts down on the outer packaging, which cuts down on the cost, which gives you a cheaper seed. Most of their packets of seed are £1 each or just less. And in general, you will get stupid amounts of seed. Absolutely, you get far too many. And what I've done in the past, that used to be, I think it was 79 pence for 200 seeds, and then if you paid an extra 10 pence, you got something like 2,000 seeds. And this was great for buying things like cabbages and kales, certainly with the brassicas, because like I've got here with these microgreens, which I'm now growing from specialist seeds that were given to me, were supplied to me by Grow Seed. What I've always done is I've used the mushroom trays, lined and filled them in compost, and at the end of the season I've just filled them with all these extra and surplus brassica seeds that I've had left over, and they provide the microgreens over the winter months. So I'm getting the cabbages or the broccolis or the kales through the season anyway for next to no money, and then at the end of the season I get the bonus of greens which see me over the winter months. And what I do is I leave them in my greenhouse at home, so on those days that I'm snowed in or iced in, I've got them readily available. So anyway, Premier Seeds, again, they're a dedicated seed company, so their turnover is vast, and therefore they've always got the freshest seeds. And I've never had an issue I can honestly think of that where germination wasn't good. In fact, it's normally fantastic. You can normally guarantee at least 95 to 99% germination. That works well for me. There's nothing worse than growing something that's time critical. For instance, peppers in the new year. I tend to start my peppers sometime in January. If you miss that sowing window, if you miss it, then your plants will be noticeably smaller through the season. I want a guarantee that my plants are going to grow. That's why I use Premier Seeds. And over the years, the stock has grown, the varieties has grown. You won't get everything. There will be some varieties that you'll have to hunt around elsewhere for if you want a particular name variety. And I still do that myself now to this day. And that's what I tend to use those big multinational companies for that I mentioned right at the start of this video that I don't use. I do use them to fill in those corners, to fill in those gaps of seed that I can't get elsewhere. So Premier Seed, as I say, definitely worth a go, even if you only buy a couple of packets. And their delivery is ultra fast. It's got better and better as the years have gone by because the company is growing. And as I say, it's similar to the Grow Seed. This is why I'm starting to use them, because I have faith in a company getting better and improving and moving forward. So I think Grow Seed will be one like Premier Seeds in years to come, 10-12 years down the line. So Premier Seeds, that's probably my #1 seed company right now, and has been for a number of years. But I use all of them, and all 10 that I've given you today I use and I will be using over this next couple of months, and I've used them all this year already. So they're my 10 recommendations for seed companies. There are thousands of others, and I've no doubt that many of you will put your favourites down in the comments underneath, and again, that's fantastic, because it helps other people out and helps direct people to the type of seed that they want, or the service or price point that they require. So I hope that gives you a better understanding of some of the seed companies I use, and more importantly, why I use them, why I choose to use them. This is a subjective matter. It's my choice, not everyone's. There'd be many choices of seed companies that people use. No doubt people will put them in the comments underneath, and that's fantastic. The more these ideas and thoughts are shared, the better it is for everyone. But that's it for this video. Look after yourselves, everyone. Please stay safe. I'll see you all very soon. Ta-ra now.